Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? All right, Saints injury report, first injury report of the week came out, and this is starting to be a problem. Let me rephrase that. This is the continuation of a problem that started quite literally the first workout of the first day of training camp when Kendre Miller went down with a hamstring injury. And if you remember that first week of camp out in California, every day it was another starter that went down with an injury. And as they've gotten closer to the season and now into the season, the injury report has continued to grow. You've not had Colin Saunders yet in this season, who's going to bolster the interior of your defense whenever he returns. We know Eric McCoy is now going to miss 6 to 8 weeks. Taysom Hill missed this past week against the Eagles. There was a mixed bag here on the injury report. For the Falcons, first day of the Falcons week. 4 players did not practice: Alontae Taylor, Demario Davis, Alvin Kamara, Cesar Ruiz. Those are 4 starters and 4 guys you count on pretty significantly. Taylor with an illness, Davis with a hamstring, Kamara with hip and rib injuries, and Cesar Ruiz with a knee. You might recall Ruiz left the game briefly on Sunday against the Eagles and then returned. Apparently that was a knee injury, and that's what he's dealing with right now. Derek Carr was actually listed on the injury report with a left groin injury, but he was a full participant, which is great news. So it's not limiting him in any way, but he is listed on the injury report. The great news is Taysom Hill returned, was a full participant. Was listed with the chest injury. The report on Sunday from Jay Glazer, bruised lung, but Taysom was a full go. And then DeMarco Jackson, Colin Saunders, and Landon Young all limited. Taysom, I think, is one that I'll get to the offensive line because that's significant, but I want to start with Taysom because, on Sunday, in particular because you lost Eric McCoy and it caused such an issue with your ability to run the football, had you had Taysom Hill, it is fair to say that would have added a different dimension to your rushing offense that you very clearly lacked. Your ability to run with power between the tackles, and we saw it on a 3rd and 1, then on 4th and 1 where they tried to get outside. Or they got a little creative, I should say, with Kamara in the single wing. If you had Taysom taking that direct snap, maybe a different result. Here was Dennis Allen, who was asked about Taysom.
I don't know if anybody has about Taysom, too, just since we're on the injury kick. Is there an update on him?
He practiced today, and I'm anticipating him being ready to go this weekend.
That's great news. He just adds such a different dimension to your offense. We all know it. You don't need me to spell it out for you. He's the most versatile player in the NFL. Maybe the most versatile player we've ever seen in the history of the NFL. I don't know. I wasn't around when Red Grange was out there running, but maybe since that guy. There have been Cordell Stewart / guys, Antoine Randall. We've seen those guys in the league, but nothing quite like this. A guy that could be a quarterback who can run power, who can block punts, and can play tight end. He's just awesome. We all know it. So you get Taysom back, it changes that dimension of your offense and maybe helps alleviate some of the pressure from losing Eric McCoy and that domino effect. Now, the news here on Tuesday was that the Saints worked out on Tuesday. They worked out 4 players, and they ultimately signed Chris Reed. So there was on there were 3 transactions that the Saints had announced on Wednesday. And, of course, one of them was Eric McCoy going to IR, and that was completely expected. You can go read about it all at louisianasports.net if you'd like to. Ross has the report up there. So Eric McCoy went to IR. The Saints signed Shane Lemieux from the practice squad to the active roster, and then they added free agent Chris Reed to the practice squad. So we kind of asked the question and wondered, with the addition of Chris Reed, would it elevate Lemieux? Would they sign Reed to the active roster? How would that work? Well, now we know. Shane Lemieux gets elevated. The real question with Lemieux is if he's a guy that potentially could be an option at center if you need him there. Here's what Dennis Allen said.
He worked center all of training camp, so obviously Lucas Patrick has been playing center for us. So we'll be ready with whatever we decide to do come game day.
While he didn't disclose what they're going to decide to do on game day, what's interesting is he didn't shoot down the idea of Lemieux playing center, and he had played there, because the other idea would be, do you move Cesar Ruiz from guard to center? But if you do that, now all three starting spots on the interior of your line are different, right? I mean, McCoy was your center, and Patrick was your left guard, and Ruiz is your right guard. McCoy goes out, you move Patrick over, you have a new left guard, and if something were, knock on wood, to happen to Patrick, well, then now if you moved Ruiz inside, now the entire interior of your line is all different from the line you started with against Philadelphia. So it might make more sense if you can get Shane Lemieux, who's been with you through training camp, ready to go and activated to be center if you need a backup. It sounds like he will be active on game day, but we'll wait and see how that may all go. One more from Dennis Allen here about this offensive line for the New Orleans Saints as they get ready for this game. He was asked about McCoy's injury and if that puts more on Derek Carr and sort of how that impacts his ability to play on Sunday.
Obviously Eric was instrumental in the communication with everything that we're doing up front, And so, yeah, anytime you lose a guy like that, is that smart, does such a great job of communicating, and is a good player to go along with that, it makes it tough. But we've got guys that we believe in that'll go in and step in and play well in his absence.
One guy also worth keeping an eye on is Landon Young, who was on the injury report with a foot injury. Allen said they've been cross-training and moving him all over the line. That's another guy who's a swing player who can play inside out. We saw him do it. Look, we saw him play left tackle in the preseason. We've seen him play guard as well. He's your swing guy at maybe any of the four positions aside from center. Lemieux going up can play on the interior or at center, depending on how it goes. So you'll probably have 8 offensive linemen active on game day, and it's safe to say Young, if he's healthy, and Lemieux will be in that number as well. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.